Okay, so do I think that training and teaching are the same? All right, well that's a really good question. Um, yes and no. Yes and no. I think that training most definitely has an element of teaching to it. Um, but I don't think that teachers think of themselves in the aspects of a trainer. Um, I mean, I went to college, college professors. I never heard a professor say, I'm a trainer or I'm training you. You know, it's always been teaching. My opinion, and that's all you can put this under, is my opinion, is I think that when I think about teaching, teachers now in school have the state standardized testing that goes on. So a lot of times what they will do is they'll tell their students, so when you see this question, question 12, the answer is D. And the purpose behind that is because the pressure that's on them is to get the right answer. Not necessarily how you got there, but just give them the right answer. And I think for me, again, my own personal opinion, I think for me, training is the psychology behind why the answer is what it is. I don't want you just to choose D because I told you. Training is teaching you the psychology behind the question, behind the process. So that way, even if you don't see that question on the test, you know what the answer is. You know what the answer is because you understand the psychology behind it. I think to me that's one of the biggest differences between training and teaching. Do I like being a leader? Woo, that's a good one. Um, I still struggle with being a leader. I still struggle with that. When I was hired into the position that I was hired into, the man that hired me in told me there were two types of people. And think now this is into corporate America. He said there's street guys, the guys that you need a task done and they'll get it done no matter what, and then there's the corporate people who follow the procedures and say the right thing and do the right thing. And he told me, he said, you, Scotty, you are street guy. And that's what I need. That when I tell you I need task XYZ done, you go out and do it. And I think now, realizing there's more to it than that, I still struggle with it. And especially, speaking in front of groups, whether it's a civic organization or business function or training or YouTube channel or Facebook or whatever it is. I was just talking this week at a function. And afterwards, I come off the stage and everybody's milling around and they're all talking and everything. And there's two people around me. Then the next thing you know, it grows to 5. Then there's 15. Then there's 30. And they're all talking about how much they appreciate you and what what you said and how it impacted them and that you're thanking them all. And the leader of the function had to come out and get me and lead me through the crowd. He said, we want to get him to the office so he can kind of decompress, and we got some things we want to talk to him about. And that's something that I still I have come to grips with, and still I am coming to grips with. When standing in front of people, the stage is the easy part. That's the performance. And I really don't think we take into account the impact that words and people in positions, people who are in front of people all the time, in front of classes, large groups of people, micro groups, whatever, we don't realize the impact of our words. I think it was John Adams that said, if you can influence people to aspire to do better or even do something different in their life, then you are a leader. And, you know, when I read the comments on Facebook or on the YouTube channel, or I go to work and people say to me, you know, something that you said impacted me. It affected me. It helped me make the decision on my job. It helped me stay on this job. Or it helped me go home and have a conversation with my family to decide what I want to do. That's heavy. Yeah. That's heavy. Because whatever inspired me to say it has affected their life. It affects them. It affects their children. It affects, you know, I've had people say, I went to the interview and took the interview because you inspired me to do that. That's more than a job. You've affected somebody's life. That's heavy. That's a burden. A burden where it's more than just a job. It almost becomes and is a calling. To know that you influenced someone to make a decision or not make a decision, or they went from A to B because of something you did or your life or something you said, that's heavy, man. That's heavy. That's when you know you connected with the universe, and you did something. You did good. You did good that day. Are there a couple of things that I could say in regards to accomplishing your dreams and goals? Wow. Okay, how about this? The first one is this: sacrifice. Sacrifice. If you want something, you're gonna have to sacrifice to get it. You know, success is relative. To my kids, getting to the end of the month or the end of the week and getting their allowance, you know, whatever it is, $5, $10, that's success to them, right? A lot different than, you know, the CEO that's got to make $1 million, or someone that some people they want a house, some people they want a different car, some people, you know, success is relative. But I don't think you can get to whatever level of success you want without sacrifice. And you know, I think about that when my wife and I, you know, for her to stay home, there was a time I sacrificed. We all sacrificed. But my personal sacrifice, I worked 2 jobs. There was a time I worked 3 jobs. I worked morning, came home, took a break, had an evening job, and then on the weekends did stuff on the weekends as well. And it was a sacrifice for her to stay home and watch the kids. It benefited the kids. It still benefits the kids. And I had to do that until I could get, you know, to the place to where I was able to work one job, and now I can work my job and come home and be with her and with the kids and do what I can do to help and assist, I sacrificed. And she sacrificed. But I felt like in my sacrifice, I was helping her goals come to pass and the kids' goals come to pass. And in so doing that, in helping them reach their goals, in the middle of my sacrifice, I was accomplishing my own goals. So I think you cannot be successful without some level of sacrifice. And then the other thing I would just say is passion. You have to have a passion. And it has to come through. It absolutely has to come through. A friend of mine said to me one time, he said, I love to talk to you about training because when you talk to training, you go into a different mode. And you talk about training and helping people as if it's a living, breathing entity. And to me, it is. To some people, it's not. To some people, it's a job. And I think that my effectiveness came when I became passionate about what I was doing and realizing it was more than a paycheck. Somebody asked me, they said, well, Scottie, how much money do you make? I said, well, why? They said, well, we want to know how you live. And I thought about that. My response to this person was, my paycheck's not how I live. My paycheck's how I pay my debts, pay my bills. I live off of my passion, my drive, that sparkle in my eye. You've got to be passionate about whatever it is you're doing. I don't care if it's making a cake or growing a garden or trying to touch people's lives. You have to be passionate with it. You gotta have some type of passion. Gotta have passion. Got to have passion. Passion drives you. Passion drives you. How did I come up with my catchphrase? That's how I see it. Okay, so when I was a kid, my father used to tell me I had my head in the clouds. He would say, you got to get down in this world. You got to be less of a dreamer and more of a worker. And I used to have people say, so, I went to college. I went to Harvard. I've got a master's degree. I was going to be a priest for Christ's sake. I have an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. I have a ton of awards. But he used to say, you are so heavenly minded, you're no earthly good. And I kind of, as I live and I go through life, I don't think that's true. I think I'm so heavenly minded, I'm the ultimate earthly good. It's kind of like the old DJ Casey Kasem used to say, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars. So I don't think growing up that people gave a lot of insight or carried a lot of weight to my opinions or what I thought. And now getting IMs at work or emails or messages on Facebook or text messages of people telling me how much I've impacted their life. The way I see things does affect people. So, that's how I see it. And I'm not saying that I'm right all the time, but I'm not wrong. So, yeah, I'm Scottie the trainer. And, yep, that's how I see it.